In the next few minutes, I'm going to spill the beans on exactly how to handle a pregnant goat from the day you suspect there's a kid in the oven, all the way to that precious moment when those miniature hooves finally greet the world. But here's the kicker. There's a little-known tip, one that saved me from a goat-related meltdown, that I'm only revealing at the end. Stick around, and you might just save yourself from a midnight emergency run. So, let's dive in. The average goat gestation is roughly 150 days. Yup, that's almost 5 months of anticipation. And occasionally biting your nails in suspense. Different breeds can shift this timeline by a smidge, but 150 is your magic number. You can even confirm the big news with a vet's ultrasound by day 45, if you're into high-tech baby bump reveals. And yes, your goat will appreciate the paparazzi less than a Hollywood star, just saying. Now, do goats ever pull surprises and kid earlier? Definitely. Stick with me and I'll explain a bizarre scenario involving an unexpected early arrival later in the video. During these 150 days, you might notice your doe's appetite shifting like she's training for an eating contest. One day, she might devour every blade of grass in sight. The next, she's acting like a picky toddler, rejecting broccoli. This appetite fluctuation is normal, but keeping track of her daily intake can give you clues about her overall well-being. If her appetite drops dramatically, it might be time to reach out to a vet or more experienced goat owner for guidance. You might also discover that your beloved doe becomes a bit more territorial during pregnancy, as if she's channeling her inner bouncer at the hottest goat club in town. She could start giving side-eye to goats she once cuddled with, or even hog the best sunbathing spot. Don't be alarmed, this behavior often fades, especially if she feels secure and gets adequate personal space. Another quirky fact: some pregnant goats develop a truly impressive skill for sneaking away from the herd to nap in secret hideouts. When you finally find her snoozing under a shady tree, don't be surprised if she gives you a look like, "Hey, can a mum-to-be get some privacy around here?" Enjoy these moments, because the more relaxed she is, the smoother her journey toward kidding day. Wondering if that round belly is more than just extra hay? Check for changes. Maybe she's moodier or craving special treats. Who doesn't love midnight ice cream, or in this case, extra grain? Watch for a gradually enlarging udder or subtle attitude shifts. If you're still uncertain, call a local veterinarian or consider a blood test. It's basically a goat's version of a home pregnancy kit, minus the awkward pharmacy trip. One amusing anecdote I've heard is that sometimes an experienced goatkeeper can practically feel a little bump moving when gently touching the doe's belly. However, that takes a practiced hand and a cooperative goat, two things that rarely coincide. If your goat's squirming more than a toddler in a candy store, you may want to use more reliable methods like a blood test or ultrasound. Don't forget to monitor your doe's overall body condition during this phase. If she's looking too round in the midsection but is otherwise bony, you might need to tweak her diet. It's a balancing act. You want a healthy weight, not an all-you-can-eat buffet scenario that leads to overweight goats, which can complicate kidding. It's like trying to plan a balanced Thanksgiving dinner without overstuffing everyone at the table. Conversely, if she's looking scrawny, you may need to step up her nutrition game. Extra proteins and minerals can help keep her strong. I will link some supplements in the comments, ensuring both she and her growing offspring are in tip-top shape. Remember, every goat is unique, just like people, so sometimes you'll feel like a detective piecing together clues about her dietary needs. If you're thinking, this is already more goat gossip than I ever dreamed of, then do me a tiny favor. Hoof bump that thumbs up button and tickle that subscription bell. Because every goat deserves a fan club, and you're about to earn your membership badge. Now let's chat about those final countdown indicators, because you don't want to be asleep at the wheel when your doe says, "It's time." Keep an eye on her udder. Bagging up can happen a few days or even mere hours beforehand. Also, the tailhead ligaments go soft, like a well-cooked noodle, approximately 12 to 24 hours before the big event. Oh, and watch her behaviour if she's playing interior decorator, pawing at the ground, rearranging her bedding. She may be assembling her baby goat nursery. Cue the dramatic music. Some owners swear by the milk check trick, where they carefully express a tiny sample of milk from the doe's udder. If it appears thick and yellowish, like colostrum, they know kidding is just around the corner. But a word of caution, you don't want to do this too often, as you might inadvertently stimulate labour or stress the doe, so handle her gently like a true goat whisperer. Meanwhile, be on alert for a sudden change in appetite or general restlessness. It's a bit like your doe has a big date coming up, and she's pacing back and forth, trying to decide what to wear. If she starts isolating herself from the herd, looking for a quiet nook or corner, that's another strong hint that kids are coming soon. Also, keep your phone or camera handy because, let's face it, those final hours before birth can be the most dramatic. Expect the occasional long, moaning sigh from your doe as if she's rehearsing her lines for an opera. It might sound concerning, but it's usually a normal part of the pre-labour routine. If things escalate, you'll be ready to capture the big moment or reach out for expert help. Privacy, cleanliness and a spa-like atmosphere, yes, goats want it all. Separate your expectant mother from the rest of the herd in a cosy pen. Fill it with soft, dry bedding. Think straw, not your living room rug, no matter how much you adore her. Ventilation is good, drafts are bad, and keep all pointy or dangerous objects far, far away. This is one scenario where bubble wrap sounds tempting, but straw works better and won't make your goat look like a piece of modern art. If you're dealing with winter temperatures, consider adding a bit of extra insulation or a heating lamp in the corner. Just make sure it's securely installed so curious goats don't turn it into a goat disco party. You want warmth without any fire hazards. And keep in mind that a pregnant doe might be more sensitive to temperature changes, so watch for shivering or signs of discomfort. It's also helpful to have an easily accessible water source. A small bucket clipped to the fence at doe level can reduce any awkward bending or accidental spills. If your doe is anything like mine, she'll still manage to tip it over when she's in a feisty mood, but at least you'll have tried. And don't forget about lighting. While goats appreciate dimmer conditions to keep stress levels down, you'll need adequate illumination if you have to assist or observe in the wee hours. A simple barn light or even a rechargeable LED lamp works wonders. Just make sure it's not glaringly bright after all. Nobody wants a spotlight shining on them during labour. Grab your checklist because missing even one crucial item can turn an adorable moment into mild panic. Clean towels because slimy goat kids aren't exactly glamorous. Sterile gloves, germ-free, is the way to be. Lubricant, you never know when you'll need a helping hand, literally. Iodine, for umbilical cord care, not for seasoning salads. Colostrum, or a reputable replacer, always have that liquid gold on standby in case mama's milk production needs a minute. Vet's number, memorize it, write it on your barn wall or tattoo it on your forearm because emergencies never schedule appointments. Trust me, these are lifesavers when nature decides to keep you on your toes. I will make sure this list is in the description as well as links to some suggested products. The links are affiliate links, so I earn a small commission at no additional cost to you. Speaking of towels, pack more than you think you'll need. One for drying off each kid, one for cleaning up any unexpected, let's call them messy surprises, and an extra for if you accidentally drop one in the straw. A good rule of thumb is, if you think you need 2, bring 4. The meltdown you avoid might be your own. Also consider a notepad or a whiteboard. This might sound old school, but jotting down times like when you first notice contractions or when each kid arrives can help you spot any red flags. Plus, in the whirlwind of birth, it's easy to lose track of details, and having a written record can be super handy if you need to consult a vet. And let's not overlook the power of a nice warm beverage for yourself. While it's not exactly a supply for the goat, waiting on a doe in labour can feel as long as waiting on the finale of your favourite TV series. A thermos of tea or coffee can be your best friend during those pre-dawn hours. Next stop, the miracle of birth. Or, more accurately, a lot of interesting noises and mystery fluids. Brace yourself for 3 stages. Phase 1, early labour, could stretch up to 24 hours. She may appear restless or start humming a goat lullaby. Phase 2, active labour. Expect strong contractions, a possible water bag appearance, and the big reveal of tiny hooves. If it's taking too long or you see an odd presentation, like a single leg or a backward kid, ring the vet phone pronto. Phase 3, the aftermath. The placenta typically arrives within a few hours. No placenta in 12 to 24 hours. Alert your vet. No, it's not always tidy, but it's an unmatched experience. Just think of it like a dramatic goat soap opera with a guaranteed happy ending most of the time. Remember that early arrival scenario I teased? I once had a doe deliver a full week ahead of schedule. The kids were smaller but still healthy, proving that goats enjoy rewriting the script now and then. During phase 1, don't be alarmed if your goat starts talking in goat code. She might do a low-pitched moan or a quiet bleat that sounds like she's confiding secrets to the straw. It's her way of coping with the early contractions. Observing this behaviour is also your green light to prep your supplies because things might escalate quickly. Phase 2 is showtime. You may see the amniotic sac or water bag first, which looks like a fluid-filled balloon protruding from the doe's vulva. It can feel like you're hosting the world's smallest pool party, but resist the urge to pop it yourself. Nature generally does this just fine. Let the doe do her thing, and only intervene if you suspect trouble, like a malpositioned kid. When phase 3 comes around, the placenta should pass relatively soon. Some does like to snack on it, which is a bit unappetizing to us humans, but not unusual in the goat world. The important part is that it does come out. If it doesn't, or if you notice an odd smell or discharge, you're definitely in call the vet territory. Better safe than sorry. Baby goats are basically Mother Nature's version of confetti. Cute, chaotic, and guaranteed to brighten your day. Once they're out, let the mother do her cleaning ritual, though a towel cameo never hurts. Encourage those newborns to nurse as soon as possible for colostrum. It is liquid immune boosting with superpowers. Make sure they're warm and watch for that first latched meal. If the temperature drops, supply a toasty environment, but try not to set up a disco inferno in your barn. One of the first things you'll notice is that newborn kids can be wobbly, yet surprisingly determined to find mum's udder. It's like they're on a treasure hunt with a built-in compass. If you see them struggling for too long, guide them gently toward the source. Sometimes they just need a hint. If your doe isn't immediately doting on her babies, don't panic. Some first-time mums might be a tad confused, like they just got handed a surprise they didn't order. Gently rub each kid with a towel or encourage the doe to start licking them. Often once she gets that first lick, her maternal instincts kick into full gear. Pro tip, weigh your newborns if you can. A little kitchen scale can work wonders. Knowing their birth weight helps you track their growth and spot any issues early. Plus, baby goat weigh-ins are an adorable spectacle. Just be prepared for some wriggling and bleating as they wonder why the world has suddenly gotten so weird. Mama goat is a superhero, but even superheroes need snacks and hydration. Offer her fresh water, maybe warmed with electrolytes for an extra pick-me-up, because, let's face it, delivering kids is labour-intensive, pun absolutely intended. Keep an eye out for complications like too much discharge or a suspiciously moody attitude. Lethargy, fever, or refusal to eat means it's time for a phone call to your local goat doc. In the days following birth, consider giving the doe some high-quality alfalfa or a special lactation feed. She's going to need extra energy to produce milk, and think of it like a celebratory feast for a job well done. Just introduce any new feed gradually to avoid upsetting her rumen. If you're feeling extra fancy, you can even prepare a postpartum goat smoothie, warm water mixed with molasses or a vet-approved electrolyte solution. Some love it, others turn up their noses, but those who do enjoy it will get a pleasant sugar boost to help with recovery. Meanwhile, keep monitoring her udder for any hot spots or lumps that could indicate mastitis. If you notice something off, don't hesitate to get a professional opinion. Early detection can save both her comfort and milk supply, and a comfortable mum equals thriving kids. By the way, if you've ever seen a goat do something so bizarre it belonged on a reality show, drop that story in the comments. It might just help another newbie who thinks their goat is auditioning for a circus act. Dystocia. That's the fancy term for a difficult birth. Sometimes it's just a big kid trying to fit through a small doorway, or a kid practicing its acrobatic routine in utero. If your spidey sense says something's off, maybe there's zero progress despite major contractions, call in professional backup. If the placenta won't arrive to the party, that's another red flag. And if your brand new baby goats are weak or shivering, break out the warming station and possibly a bottle feeding regimen, because no one parties if they're cold and hungry. For a difficult birth, having lubricant and gloves handy can make all the difference if you need to reposition a kid. Gently maneuvering those tiny limbs can be nerve-wracking, but sometimes it's the only way to resolve a stuck situation. If you're ever unsure, better to call a vet than risk injury to the doe or the kid. When it comes to a retained placenta, time is key. You might be tempted to tug on it like you're winning a game of tug-of-war, but this can cause more harm than good. Let nature handle most of the work, and if it's still hanging around after 12 to 24 hours, that's when you dial up the pros. For chilly or weak kids, consider a simple homemade warming box. A plastic storage bin with towels and a heating pad underneath on low setting can be a lifesaver. Just ensure there's enough ventilation and never leave them unattended for too long. New goats are notoriously curious, and you don't want them chewing on cords or flipping their new spa suite upside down. Here's my parting buffet of wisdom. Learn from others. Veterans in local goat clubs can be your greatest allies. They might even have cookies. Document everything, dates, weights, odd behaviours, because your memory's no match for goat drama. Embrace the chaos. Kidding can be unpredictable, but the payoff is beyond adorable. Just think of all those adorable goat selfies you'll flood your social media with. #GoatSquad. And yes, that hush-hush secret I teased about saving me from a meltdown, let's finally unveil it. Another resource you can tap into is your local extension office or 4-H club. They often have years of experience with livestock care and can answer questions you never even thought to ask. Sometimes you'll discover neat tricks, like using a drop of honey to entice a sleepy kid to perk up, that aren't in any textbook. Also, never underestimate the power of goat-friendly toys or climbing structures. A bored goat can be a mischievous goat, and new kids especially love to hop around like they've had a triple espresso. Providing safe obstacles not only keeps them entertained, but can also help with muscle development. Finally, don't forget that goats have a knack for making you laugh. It's part of their charm. Whether it's the doe trying to eat your hat or kids performing mid-air stunts, embrace these moments. They remind you why you signed up for goat ownership in the first place: unpredictable fun. I once learned that having a small stash of kids' sweaters, yep, little goat-sized pullovers, ready can make all the difference if the temperature suddenly plummets during kidding season. Trust me, you haven't lived until you've seen a newborn goat wearing a toddler's hoodie, warm, safe, and irresistibly fashionable. That random tip rescued me at 2 in the morning, preventing hypothermia and a ton of heartbreak. And now you're fully armed with every essential detail for your own pregnant goat journey.